Darius Twin is the third game in the long-running Darius series and was released for the Super Nintendo back in 1991. Like the other titles in the series, Darius Twin is a horizontal shmup, and you pilot a Silverhawk in an attempt to save the galaxy from giant fish alien things. The main gimmick is a branching path system, allowing you to complete 7 levels in a non-linear fashion. Other than the branching paths, Darius Twin is fairly unremarkable. Your main weapon is called a missile and simply fires forward. Your secondary weapon is called a bomb, which fires out diagonally in all 4 directions. The last item is a shield. Basic stuff. Your missiles and bombs can each be upgraded 8 times, and ultimately become pretty powerful. You can switch missile types between the photon power disc and a segmented laser wave beam, but must collect a specific power-up to make the switch. The photon power disc has a larger strike radius but does less damage. The segmented laser wave beam is narrower but more powerful. The level design in Darius Twin is again fairly unremarkable. Most planets have their own look and feel, from bright skies and mountains to fiery landscapes, but it all has a been there, done that feel to it. A few levels have some variation in the movement, where the levels scroll up, down, and diagonally as opposed to just right, but it all stays fairly traditional and doesn't really break any new ground. Where Darius Twin does shine is the boss design. As mentioned earlier, there is an aquatic theme to the title, and that is most evident in the bosses. Each stage features a mid-boss that is usually fairly simple, but breaks up the monotony of endless waves of lesser enemies. Then, after a lengthy load time, the screen flashes a warning, complete with an awesome boss name, and then finally, the bad boys themselves arrive. These are the highlights of Darius Twin, and it's always a treat to see how the designers managed to transform a seemingly basic creature into an awesome robotic beast. Unfortunately, the gameplay doesn't quite live up to these awesome bosses. The controls are fine, although I would like the ability to adjust your ship's speed. It's just that Darius Twin is a bit on the easy side. Since you are effectively firing in 5 different directions, you just sort of hover in the middle of the screen and watch things die as they fly into your fire. The bosses share the same fate. Oftentimes, you can stick to the top or bottom of the screen and simply avoid their firing patterns completely while your diagonal shots slowly wear them down. This takes away most of the satisfaction of actually defeating them. If you're new to the genre, this is both a blessing and a curse. It's a blessing because you can quickly jump in and make progress. It's a curse because it sets the wrong expectation of what the genre is really about. Graphically, Darius Twin is a mixed bag. Most of the enemies feature little to no animation, with the exception of the mid-bosses and end-stage bosses. There are some positives here though. The frame rate is solid, and there are usually plenty of different sprite layers, giving a nice illusion of depth. The music varies from acceptable to outright bad. While technically adequate, some of the tracks feature very awkward compositions that are not pleasing. The music also has a hollow echo style to it, like many Super Nintendo games. The sound effects are just weak. The actual firing sounds lack any sort of depth or impact, and hitting enemies isn't satisfying either. Destroying a giant fish boss makes the same noise as hitting the smallest targets in the game. I want some epic explosions to match the epic bosses. Overall, Darius Twin is an average affair. Shmup fans will find it too easy, and newcomers to the genre may find it a bit boring, and the weapon system is incredibly basic. The saving grace of the game are the awesome bosses. Just seeing what crazy biomechanical crustaceans the designers came up with is worth the price of admission. Thankfully, Darius Twin is a cheap Super Nintendo game, so it's worth a look. 3 out of 5.